The stage lights of Studio 50 felt like twin suns pressing down on Buddy Holly's shoulders. December 1, 1957, had already given way to the tense hush before airtime, but the real heat came from Ed Sullivan himself, standing in the wings like a storm cloud in a tailored suit. The man who controlled Sunday nights in America, Ed who had tamed Elvis by shooting him only from the waist up, was now staring at this lanky 21-year-old from Lubbock, Texas, as though he'd brought a hay bale onto the set. Buddy adjusted the thick black frames that sat heavy on the bridge of his nose. Without them the world smeared into soft impressionist strokes, the monitors became glowing rectangles of color, the crew shadowy figures drifting like smoke, the audience a distant sea of blurred faces. He'd worn glasses since middle school, ever since the eye chart had reduced letters to gray ghosts. The optometrist back home, Dr. Armistead, had handed him these heavy Mexican-made horn rims 2 years earlier, saying, "These'll do the job, son, and maybe give you some character." Buddy had laughed then. Character. Now they were his lifeline. Sullivan stepped closer, shoes clicking on the polished floor. His voice stayed low, meant for Buddy alone, but it carried the authority of a man used to being obeyed. "Those glasses," he said, pointing with a thick finger. "Take them off. You look like you're here to balance the books, not sing rock and roll. The camera doesn't like them. The kids want excitement, sex appeal, danger, not some bespectacled schoolboy. Take them off or you're out. We've got 5 minutes till we roll." The words landed like a slap. Buddy felt his pulse jump in his throat. He glanced sideways at Jerry Allison behind the drum kit. Jerry's face was calm, but his sticks tapped a restless rhythm against his thigh. Joe B. Malden stood with his upright bass, fingers flexing, eyes flicking between Buddy and Sullivan. Nicky Sullivan cradled his rhythm guitar, looking ready to bolt if things went south. They were the Crickets, tight as family, and they'd driven all the way from Texas on fumes and dreams for this shot. One song, that'll be the day, 3 minutes to prove they belonged. Buddy swallowed. His mouth felt dry as West Texas dust. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing in. The millions watching from living rooms with rabbit ear antennas, the kids in horn rims like his who'd been called Four Eyes their whole lives, the parents who still thought rock and roll was the devil's music. If he took the glasses off, he'd be performing half-blind. Chords would be guesses, the neck of the Stratocaster a hazy line he'd have to feel more than see. He'd miss the high frets, flub the solo, look awkward fumbling. Worse, he'd look like he was ashamed. Like he agreed with Sullivan that the glasses made him less. He lifted his chin the way he did back home when the wind tried to push him sideways across the flat plains. A small, crooked smile tugged at his lips, not cocky, just certain. "Mr. Sullivan," he said, voice quiet but steady, carrying that soft West Texas twang, "these glasses aren't for show. I can't see a damn thing without M. The fretboard, the picks, the lights, they all turn to mush. If I take M off, I can't play right. And if I can't play, there's no point in me being here at all. So I reckon I'll keep M on." Sullivan's face darkened. A muscle twitched in his jaw. Behind him, a production assistant hovered, clipboard clutched like a shield, whispering urgently into a headset. The clock on the wall ticked louder now, 4 minutes to air. The control room door cracked open, someone hissed Sullivan's name. "You think you're special?" Sullivan snapped, voice rising just enough to draw eyes from the crew. Elvis didn't argue. Little Richard didn't argue. They showed up, they did what was asked, and they sold records. You want to be a star or a stubborn kid from nowhere? Buddy felt heat climb his neck, but he didn't blink. I want to play the music the way it's supposed to be played. That's all. These boys behind me, he jerked a thumb toward the Crickets, we practiced till our fingers bled so we could sound right tonight. Take the glasses, and you take that away. Jerry gave a single, slow nod from the drums. Joe B. shifted his weight, bass thumping once against the floor like agreement. Nicky exhaled, shoulders relaxing. They were in it together. Sullivan stared, hard. The silence stretched, brittle as old film. Then he let out a sharp breath through his nose, the sound of a man conceding ground he hadn't wanted to lose. "Fine," he growled. "Keep your damn glasses. But don't expect kid glove treatment. You get one song. You better make it count." He turned on his heel, barking at the floor director. "Cue the intro. And tell the camera guys to get close, let America see exactly what they're getting." Buddy exhaled, shoulders dropping a fraction. His hands were steady as he lifted the Stratocaster strap over his head. The guitar settled against his narrow frame like an old friend. He ran his thumb across the strings, once, twice, checking the feel. The familiar vibration traveled up his arm, grounding him. He stepped to the microphone stand. The lights flared brighter, bleaching everything white. Beyond the glare he could just make out the vague shapes of the audience, rows of expectant faces. Somewhere out there were kids like him, awkward, bespectacled, told they'd never fit. Tonight they'd see one of their own refuse to disappear. The announcer's voice boomed through the monitors, "And now, ladies and gentlemen, Buddy Holly and the Crickets." Buddy leaned into the mic, lips close enough to taste the metal. His voice cracked just a little, not nerves, but the raw edge of everything he felt. 1, 2, 3. The opening chord of "That'll Be the Day" exploded, clean, bright, unstoppable. Jerry's drums snapped like gunshots, Joe B.'s bass walked a steady line, Nicky's rhythm filled the spaces. Buddy's fingers found every note by instinct, muscle memory overriding the need for perfect sight. He sang with that high, lonesome clarity that made the lyrics feel personal, urgent. "Well, that'll be the day when you say goodbye, yes. That'll be the day when you make me cry." The audience stirred. A ripple of claps, then shouts. Teenagers in the front rows leaned forward, eyes wide. A girl with cat-eye glasses clutched her friend's arm, grinning like she'd just been given permission to exist. Buddy pushed into the solo, bending notes with a ferocity that surprised even him. The Strat sang. Bright, cutting, alive. He stomped his foot once, twice, the way he did in tiny Texas dance halls when the crowd wouldn't sit still. Here, on national television, it felt defiant. Necessary. Sullivan watched from the wings, arms folded, expression unreadable. But he didn't move to cut them off. He let the song run. As the final chord rang out and faded, the applause hit like a wave. Not polite. Real. Hungry. Buddy stepped back from the mic, breathing hard, sweat shining on his forehead. He pushed his glasses up with one finger, a small, unconscious gesture, and smiled that shy, toothy grin. In living rooms from New York to California, kids adjusted their own frames, sat up straighter. Parents who'd been ready to switch the dial paused. Something had shifted in the air between the stage and the screen, subtle, permanent. Rock and roll didn't have to look dangerous to be powerful. It could look like Buddy Holly, skinny, earnest, bespectacled, and utterly unafraid. Offstage, Sullivan approached again. This time his tone was grudging respect. "You did good, kid. Real good." Buddy nodded once. "Thank you, sir." Sullivan hesitated, then added, "Come back sometime. We'll see about 2 songs." Buddy's smile widened just a touch. "We'll see." He turned to the Crickets. Jerry twirled a stick, grinning. Joby slapped him on the back. Nicky laughed, pure relief. They walked off together, glasses catching the last of the lights in twin sharp flashes. Behind them the applause kept rolling, echoing into the future.